Hey, good morning. Yeah, who would have thought, I don't think I would have a few years ago, that the former president would be the headlining act at Madison Square Garden. You can check it out here. Hey, good morning. Yeah, who would have thought, I don't think I would have a few years ago, that the former president would be the headlining act at Madison Square Garden. You can check it out here behind me and see this is what we're seeing outside in the Jumbotron. It says, "Dream Big Again, President Donald Trump at Madison Square Garden." And I'm just going to pause for a second so you can hear what's going on.
USA! USA!
So a lot of USA chants, which we hear at a lot of rallies too. I was just in Pennsylvania last night at Penn State. We heard a lot of that there as well. I'm going to step out of the way so you can kind of see what's going on. So people are from all over the place. They've been out here for several hours and counting here. The former president's not going to be here on stage until about 5 o'clock, but Elon Musk will be here before that and some other big names. So people are very hyped up to watch this happen in real time.
A lot of momentum, a lot of energy in New York City. The streets are turning red with MAGA hats. Just an incredible sight to see. So that was at 7 a.m. this morning. Fox News was covering all of this. But just half an hour before that, the streets were already filled. Take a look at this. This was before the sun was even beginning to rise in New York City. Already very crowded, as you can see, shoulder to shoulder. But people weren't just lining up this morning. They actually began lining up last night. So Jack Posobiec, once he got off the train, he went straight to Madison Square Garden. And he already saw people camping out, waiting in line. And these were the very first people he caught up with.
All right, so we just got off the train right here, Madison Square Garden. And look
what we found.
Look at this right here. All right. So that's the garden. We're right up front of the center. Who's been here the longest? Yeah? How long?
Since 1.
Since 1. All right.
Wow.
AM or PM? PM, okay.
10 a.m.
10. Oh, 10 a.m. Are you at 10 a.m.? But they said there was a guy, Bill. He's with you? Oh, okay.
We got Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, we love Charlie. Don't we love Charlie?
I watch his live every single day.
All right. What about? We got any front row Joes here? They were here? Okay. All right, we'll have to find him. You know something? Tanya Tay has never been to the garden before. This is her very first time. What do you think? Is she in for a good one?
Yeah,
Oh,
I love that.
I can't wait.
The greatest president of my lifetime.
So as you can see, people were lining up well over 24 hours in advance just to be able to secure their spot inside the arena. This is obviously going to be a historic rally. This is truly one for the history books. I think this is going to be one of the defining rallies, not just of this campaign, but of our entire generation. Who would have ever thought that a Republican candidate would be seriously campaigning in the heart of deep blue New York City? Just absolutely incredible. Would have never thought I would ever see it. Later on this morning, the line started filling out even more. There were reports that the line wrapped around Madison Square Garden, and there are also reports that the line is apparently now on both sides of the street. Now, you will notice, because this is New York, as you heard that guy say, there was a lot of diversity there. And I think that's the difference between conservatives and leftists. When you talk about diversity on the left, it's always forced diversity, DEI. They're not really looking at your qualifications. They're not looking at your character. They're not looking at your experience. They're just trying to meet a quota. Whereas on the right-hand side of the aisle, you see a lot of just organic diversity. And one of the things we saw were just different populations, different segments of New York coming together to support President Trump. Here is actually a delegation of Korean Americans marching their way to join the line. So you can see them, they're carrying their flags, American flags, Trump flags, and they're marching to secure their place in line for Trump's rally this afternoon. One of my favorite moments, actually, was when Right Side Broadcasting was there just interviewing people on the streets. You really got a sense of the crowd, and these are just everyday Americans, people who are tired of politics as usual, and they are really trying to say, hey, the Republican Party is now the big tent party. As long as you love America, if you love the Constitution, if you want to encourage the American dream and for young people to believe in the American dream and to fight for it, then hey, all are welcome in. And I thought this was a really powerful interview, a really powerful moment during Right Side Broadcasting's broadcast this morning.
Who we gonna put in the White House? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. That's right, 2024. You heard it right here, folks. 2024, folks.
Chinese, we're Chinese first generation. We love Trump from our bottom of the heart because we know Trump is the only one can save America. Kamala is so stupid. She is so low. IQ equal no Q, no qualification to be the president. You shall stay away from that position. You already lost the position. You lost our trust. You lost our vote. You just need to go home, to stay home. You cannot do anything to save America. You are so stupid. You don't know anything. You cannot even answer any question from the camera, from all the media. How you can be on the stage to fight for America, to protect American people, to protect all the world. You are not qualified. You just need to go home. Let Trump to save America, to save the world, to put America first. If America to be strong, to be saved, and then America can save the whole world. Trump, we love you. We love you forever. Never ever surrender. Fight, fight, fight. Fight for Trump. Fight, fight, fight. Fight, fight, fight.
Just a lot of energy, a lot of love happening in line. The doors, as I'm filming this video, the doors haven't even opened yet. And as you can see, they are bundled up. They are cold. It's cold where I am. I can't imagine how cold it is up north in New York City right now. One of my favorite moments is when a Trump impersonator and a Little Rocket Man impersonator started walking around the line, and people were taking photos of them, trying to get selfies with them. And there's actually footage of two NYPD officers. You know, they're there maintaining security, making sure everyone is safe. And they actually, you know, took a break because they wanted selfies with the impersonators.
Fight, fight, fight!
Hey, is the NYPD going to endorse Trump? I'm sure the Trump campaign would love that. Now, here is a photo of 33rd Street in New York City. Just look at how thick and wide this crowd is. I mean, it is shoulder to shoulder. What is that? A dozen, 15, 20 people across? I mean, just, it's not even a single file line. This is a massive line stretching in all directions as far as the eye can see. Now, Trump did seem to update his slogan for this. It's dream big again. But, you know, I think that's appropriate because he is in the Big Apple. And so, you know, everything's bigger in New York, just like they say everything's bigger in Texas, you know. Big Apple, dream big again. I love it. I think it's removing the stigma. I personally like Make America Great Again, but obviously there is a stigma. So I think that's probably why they changed the logo, just from a marketing perspective, now that he's in a deep blue city. But from what I'm reading online, even before this morning, apparently yesterday, all day yesterday, people were walking around in red MAGA caps. And I mean, There was once upon a time where you couldn't do that in New York City. You would have been punched, you would have been assaulted, you would have been verbally assaulted. I mean, it was very unsafe in these deep blue cities to be an open Trump supporter. And even before these lines started forming, apparently there was a vibe shift happening in the city and people were wearing their caps around all day. One of my favorite moments this morning, as people are waiting in line, people are waiting for the doors to Madison Square Garden to open, the crowd was so fired up, so energized, that they just organically started singing the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, together. To the Democrats, to Harris supporters, that is what real joy looks like. That is authentic. The fact that the crowd just organically started singing that at the top of their lungs, and you can even see the smoke from their breath because it is so cold. I can't imagine. I mean, really, can you imagine standing outside 6 hours, 12 hours, shivering because it's so cold? And you're just waiting for a chance to see Trump speak for 1-2 hours. I mean, that right there is dedication. And if you're willing to wait outside that long, if you're willing to go to a rally, I guarantee you those people are going to go vote. You know, I think if you are willing to show your support in that way, the least you can do is vote. That is so much easier than waiting outside all day for a rally. Now, one of my favorite clips this morning, as Fox News, there were media outlets, of course, the mainstream media like MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS. I haven't really seen them covering this because obviously they don't want to show that there is strong support for Trump in New York City. But one of my favorite Fox News interviews was this clip. This was earlier this morning at 6:30 a.m.
Brooklyn, you said, I mean, this is pretty deep blue, right, in the city. That's probably why he hasn't had too many major rallies in New York City. He's been around when he's been here for court cases and the criminal trial. What do you think the crowd's going to be like today inside?
Oh, everybody's excited, and I think it was really ridiculous that this is supposed to be a free country, and from the first time he was running, you didn't feel free to say that I support Trump. And especially as a black person, like, yo, he's a racist. I said, well, I don't see any evidence of that, you know.
Thank you for talking to me. Appreciate it. Have fun at the rally.
I just love that clip. And, you know, I'm not one on my channel to be divisive in talking about race or different population groups or different demographics, because the Democrats like to separate us. They like to put us into camps based on our immutable qualities and things that we can't help. And again, just going back to that DEI that the left tries to force on us, whereas on the right, it's organic. When people believe in a movement, when people believe in a vision for the future, when people are hopeful, you don't need to force for diversity. The diversity will just naturally happen. And that's the thing, right? Trump has been pitching a strong future for America. And that's not just white Americans, that is all Americans, regardless of race, class, creed, religion. I mean, America first is America first. That means every single American. So I just absolutely love that. So Trump is in New York City, will be in New York City later to speak. A lot of people are wondering, what is even the probability of him winning? Well, the New York Times released their last poll of the election season, and according to the New York Times, registered voters, Kamala Harris, now this isn't the state of New York, this is New York City specifically. registered voters, Kamala Harris in a two-way race has a 60% lead compared to Donald Trump's 31%. So 60 to 31. Now, that may seem like a big lead, but if you actually compare that to Joe Biden, in 2016, Joe Biden received 76% of the vote compared to Trump's 23%. So in other words, if the polling is accurate, Kamala Harris is underperforming Joe Biden by 16 points, and Trump is overperforming himself by 8 points. In 2016, Hillary Clinton did even better than Joe Biden. She won 79% of the vote compared to Donald Trump's 19%. So again, going back to the New York Times poll, Kamala at 60%, so she is double digits behind Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. Almost 20 points behind them. And then Donald Trump breaking into the low 30s. Now, it is very important to mention that this is just registered voters. So if we actually take a look at likely voters, which is the most important, in a two-way race, this actually improves for Kamala. She goes up from 60 to 66%, and Trump actually goes down from 31 to 27%. So that is important to note that when you take a look at all registered voters, Trump actually does better and Kamala Harris does worse. Now, I do have an issue with that likely voter segment of the New York Times poll because all the available data, when we look at all the other states, whether it's North Carolina, Georgia, Nevada especially, Pennsylvania, Florida, Arizona, whenever you take a look at all of those states, the low propensity voters are actually overperforming. So I think that likely voter count from the New York Times poll may actually be low. I think Trump may actually overperform that 27% to Kamala Harris's 66%. Again, this is just New York City, but if these numbers hold up, New York could be very competitive statewide. Just the fact that Kamala is close to being 20% behind where Hillary Clinton was in 2016. And that's why we see the mainstream media freaking out. Not only are they freaking out seeing these huge lines for Trump in New York City, and by the way, where are the counter-protesters? Because anytime there was a Trump event, whenever Trump was on trial, there were always these huge anti-protest, anti-Trump crowds. Now you just see Trump support. There are no anti-Trump crowds coming out across the street to, provide an alternative voice. It just, it is a total love fest for Trump on the street. So just a total, like I said earlier, a vibe shift that's going on. And I think that's why the media is freaking out. So earlier in the year, Jake Tapper was very poised during the presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. I think Jake Tapper did exactly what a moderator should do. But now that the election is literally right around the corner and the Democrats are going more desperate, you can actually hear Jake Tapper's frustration and desperation during this interview with J.D. Vance.
Agrees with that, but he's talking
Apparently
about
you do, based on the way you're asking the question.
No, based on the fact that he's accused people that didn't break the law of breaking the law when it comes to the election. And if you want to revisit that, I'm happy to. But Liz Cheney, he said, should be put before a war tribunal. None of that sounds fascist to you at all?
No, of course it doesn't. Of
Putting
course
Liz
it
Cheney
doesn't.
before a military tribunal?
First of all, I don't buy into the premise of what you're saying, Jake, because I just on things that I know that he said, on things that I know that he said, you're imputing things, you're taking words out of context, you're taking two separate conversations and pretending that they were made at the exact same time. So I'm rejecting the premise of your question. I frankly don't believe what you're saying about Donald Trump's words. If you'd like to put up a clip and actually put him in context, I think the American people would realize that Donald Trump is a hell of a lot more reasonable than the people like Liz Cheney who would like to lie us into war. Now, Jake, we also have to remember, step back a little bit. Well, ask yourself a basic question about network integrity. You guys talked about the Russia hoax nonstop.
The FBI was investigating it. The FBI was investigating it, and so we covered them.
And so you took the words of unnamed FBI agents and put them on your network as if they were the gospel truth. You did it again and again. A viewer of your network would have believed that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin conspired in 2016.
No.
That was totally and preposterously false.
No.
Well, that's
what you just said is
why.
false. We covered an FBI investigation. I don't know why you want to talk about the FBI investigation.
You covered it in a way that gave credence to anonymous sources' accusations. You did it yourself. Your network did it, Jake. But again, can we talk about the issues that Americans care most about?
I'm talking about things that Donald Trump has said.
Yes.
If you have an issue
Kamala
with whether or not he's talking about the economy enough, that's between you and your running mate. I'm talking about things he has said
this week. Every single rally that he does,
By the way, that was my first time ever watching that clip, so my reaction was authentic. I wasn't just like trying to exaggerate things for the camera. I'm really actually shocked that Jake Tapper tried to gaslight JD Vance and the rest of us in that way. We all know what we lived through over the last almost decade now of the media's coverage of Donald Trump. I mean, they were breathless on the Russia hoax. And by the way, I mean, the fact that Jake Tapper is claiming that, oh, we just covered it because the FBI was doing it. Well, there have been legitimate investigations, especially by the House, into both Joe Biden and Hunter Biden's actions. And there's the FBI report where they interviewed Joe Biden and they said, you know, there is a crime here, but we're not going to pursue charges because he's just a well-meaning elderly man, blah, 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 blah. And the media didn't cover that. So it's really rich of them to say, well, we just covered it because it's a news story. Well, you guys selectively choose what you cover. And even when you decide to cover the allegations against Trump, even then you're cherry picking what aspects of it you want to cover. So spare me your righteous and moral indignation, and spare me your high horse, because you shouldn't be on it in the first place. But as always, that is just my analysis, my commentary. That is what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view. And I would love to hear from you. What are you looking forward to the most from this rally in Madison Square Garden? Are you looking forward to seeing the crowd size? Are you looking forward to seeing if Trump has a new policy proposal? I haven't heard of any new announcements that Trump is going to make, but I do think that he's going to make this rally very special. It is his home state. It is his hometown, his home city. So I expect this to at least be a little different from his usual stump speeches. Personally, I'm looking forward to seeing what the overflow crowd looks like, especially since Madison Square Garden, you know, it is a huge arena, but I don't think everyone's going to be able to fit inside. So it'll be interesting to see all the people who are waiting in line. If they can't get in, are they going to wait outside? And are we going to see just awesome images of New York City being filled with people watching Trump on a Jumbotron? I don't know, but I'm excited to see what the overflow crowd looks like. If you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me in the algorithm to reach more viewers like you. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.